So today's practice is going to be based around a chapter in the book Mindfulness Meditation for Everyday Life by Jon Kabat-Zinn. And just a little reading, a little excerpt from the book. And then as I read this, um, I would invite you not to look at it like some sort of gospel that we have to follow, or some great wisdom from a guru, because we all know Jon Kabat-Zinn as a mindfulness teacher of great esteem, but more as just an invitation to open in your own practice, to allow the words to land in whatever way that they do today, and just to set an intention to allow the practice to unfold in whatever way happens, and to bring mindful awareness to that, which is pretty much what Jon Kabat-Zinn tells us. He says that this is simple mindfulness, but not always easy. And in his own words, he says, while it may be simple to practice mindfulness, it's not necessarily easy. Mindfulness requires effort and discipline for the simple reason that the forces that work against our being mindful, namely our habitual unawareness and automaticity, are exceedingly tenacious. They are so strong and so much out of our consciousness that an inner commitment and a certain kind of work are necessary just to keep up our attempts to capture our moments in awareness and sustain mindfulness. But it is an intrinsically satisfying work because it puts us in touch with many aspects of our lives that are habitually overlooked and lost to us. It's also enlightening and liberating work. It is enlightening in that it literally allows us to see more clearly and therefore come to understand more deeply areas in our lives that we were out of touch with or unwilling to look at. This may include encountering deep emotions such as grief, sadness, woundedness, anger, and fear that we might not ordinarily allow ourselves to hold in awareness or to express consciously. Mindfulness can also help us to appreciate feelings such as joy, peacefulness, and happiness, which often go by fleetingly and unacknowledged. It is liberating in that it leads to new ways of being in our own skin and in the world, which can free us from the ruts we so often fall into. It is empowering as well, because paying attention in this way opens channels to deep reservoirs of creativity, intelligence, imagination, clarity, determination, choice, and wisdom within us. We tend to be particularly unaware that we are thinking virtually all the time. The incessant stream of thoughts flowing through our minds leaves us very little respite for inner quiet, and we leave precious little time for ourselves anyway, just to be, without having to run around doing things all the time. Our actions are all too frequently driven rather than undertaken in awareness, driven by those perfectly ordinary thoughts and impulses that run through the mind like a coursing river, if not a waterfall. We get caught up in the torrent, and it winds up submerging our lives as it carries us to places we may not wish to go and may not even realize we are headed for. Meditation means learning how to get out of this current, sit by its bank and listen to it, learn from it, and then use its energies to guide us rather than to tyrannize us. This process doesn't magically happen by itself. It takes energy. We call the effort to cultivate our ability to be in the present moment practice or meditation practice. And so for today, our meditation practice begins, and just allow those words, you won't remember them all, but just allow them to rest, to land. And as you practice, perhaps something will resonate. So we begin by finding our posture. And for this meditation, you could either be lying or sitting. And whatever posture you have, the intention is to be effortless and relaxed, but also dignified and alert. So finding a posture where you feel supported by the chair or the bed, a posture where your back and your pelvis and your feet feel stable and strong. And you might have your arms clasped over your belly, or you might have your arms by your sides. And when you're ready, if you feel comfortable, shutting your eyes and allowing your transition into a place of mindful awareness. And we can invite this through a curiosity, tuning into all the places where you feel your body in contact with floor, mat, or chair or bed. And just taking a few moments to explore those points of contact, to feel the weight of your body held and received by the chair, the bed, the energy of the earth. If necessary, we always have the opportunity to adjust the posture as we continue with our practice. So constantly tuning in to your body, to that sense of being held and supported by the chair, the bed, the mat, the cushion. And we can always just shift our posture a little bit to reconnect to that sense of being safe and secure. And perhaps as we tune into this, we can allow ourselves to let go of the day, the busy, the doing, the fixing, the worrying, the planning. We can allow those just to sit down beside us as we take this opportunity just to be effortless, resting in present moment awareness. And we can begin by inviting that awareness into your body, your mind, your emotions, just checking in with what is arriving into practice with you today. So we're all experienced mindfulness practitioners. So I invite you just to quickly scan through body, heart space, belly, chest, limbs, skin, checking in with the physical, the energy in the body today, and anything that might be present. It might even be the temperature of the room, or an awareness of being in a world with people and noises all around you. We can also check into our emotional weather pattern today and the energy of our thoughts. And inviting a mindful attitude of open-mindedness, of welcome, acknowledgement, recognition of what is present. And opening in a space to just sit with and explore this as we go through the practice today. But we'll just allow what you've checked in with just to sit with us for a while. Mindfulness is a slow process. We have no rush, no efforting. So let's just ease back a little bit into connecting with the breath. If you prefer, you could connect with sounds in the room around you. And just drop into feeling the movement of in-breath and out-breath, or hearing the rise and fall of sounds as they come and go. As we do this, trying to relax our energy, settle into this effortless awareness, like a butterfly on a leaf, feeling the movement of in-breath and out breath, rising and falling. And whether following breath or sounds, as best we can, coming to a place without words, just physical sensations and the flow of moment to moment awareness. And in that little short chapter that I just read, Jon Kabat-Zinn says that while mindfulness might be simple, it's not necessarily easy. And our first challenge is, of course, the wandering mind. As we rest in the awareness of sound or breath, and we realize we have nothing to do, the mind, like a restless puppy, goes racing off to play with thinking, planning, rumination, daydreaming. And so it may be simple just to rest in awareness, but our mind will naturally wander. And when we do notice this, we say, well done. Our awareness of the wandering mind. And that gives us the space to observe and then choose to just gently and kindly invite the focus of mindful attention back to the body, to the breath, to the sounds. Allow those thoughts to keep flowing in their own way. But like you might shift the focus of a camera from background to foreground, we can allow those thoughts to flow in the background, but we don't need to focus on them. We invite our focus back into the movement of in-breath and out-breath. And then every time we notice the mind has wandered, we just bring it back and reconnect to present moment, in-breath, out-breath. And from our awareness of breathing or sounds, we could now invite our focus of intentional, deliberate, present moment awareness into the body. So around the movement of breathing, we can extend our awareness through the head, the shoulders, the arms, the fingers, the chest, the belly, the pelvis, the legs, the feet, the toes, and just waiting patiently like a good friend, sitting in mindful awareness, just waiting for the body to tell you what it would like you to know. Now that it has your presence, your focus, your listening presence. And wherever the body might take you, a sensation, a tension, a pain, a pulsing, a tingling, the invitation is to just sit there mindfully, as if you were sitting on the bank of that river, just for understanding, for connection, for awareness. And there's probably a million different sensations that we might notice in the body right now. Sensations where the skin meets the air, where the body is supported by chair or bed. Sensations of clothing on skin or temperature. There might be delicate sensations like the touching of lips or eyelids, the movement of breathing. But there might also be sensations in the bones, in the joints, in the muscles, inside the body. And as best we can, finding a place where we can sit with these two in kindness, as if sitting with a good friend who has something to tell you. And whether their experience is pleasant or unpleasant, as best we can, we just sit with curiosity and kindness and listen so they know that they are being heard. In the little chapter, Jon Kabat-Zinn says, mindfulness is an enlightening and liberating work. It is enlightening in that it literally allows us to see more clearly and understand more deeply areas in our lives that we are out of touch with or even unwilling to look at. And this might include encountering deep emotions such as grief or sadness, woundedness, anger, and fear. So if we've come across anywhere in the body that is feeling uncomfortable or challenging or is bringing up emotions or thoughts, the invitation is to invite a little bit of self-compassion and a little bit of kindness and softness around those places. So self-compassion is not about changing what is here, but more changing our relationship with it and our relationship to ourselves while we experience it. To recognize that there might be some difficulty here, some tension, some bracing, some holding, some tiredness, some restlessness, some discomfort. And to breathe a little bit of softness into that, not to get rid of it, but more to recognize it's here and allow it to relax a little bit. To know that it's not alone. If you feel there's a particular place in the body, you might wish to put your hand there and just feel the touch of your hand on the body. Feel the body receiving that touch. And we're not doing this to try and get rid of what we feel. If our good friend came to us for help or support and told us things about how difficult life is for them, we wouldn't just push them out the door and say, job done. We'd sit with and offer support and kindness Maybe say, I'm really sorry that you're going through this right now. So we can talk to the parts of us that are feeling challenged or difficult right now and say, gosh, I'm really sorry you're going through this right now. I'm really sorry that I'm encountering this challenge. And it's okay. It's okay to feel not okay. But I'm here to offer support and kindness while we go through this together. And we just breathe that softness, that kindness into the places that need it, whether they might be in the body, the emotions, or the thoughts. In his paragraph, though, he also says mindfulness can also help us appreciate feelings such as joy, peacefulness, and happiness, which often go by fleetingly and unacknowledged. So I invite you now to reconnect to body, emotions, and thoughts, because our experience is always many layered, and connect to those places that feel good, that feel strong, that feel comfortable. Connect to any awareness of things that are pleasant, things we can be grateful for through our present moment experience. So just resting in awareness. This time with an eye open, being mindful of the good, the comfortable, the pleasant, the joyful, the peaceful. And just as we acknowledged and sat with those places that felt challenging, we can also sit with our good friends, the peaceful, whatever feels good in this moment, we can sit with them as well and breathe together and really engage in that awareness with all of our senses, with our heart, our emotions, our body, our mind. And in his little chapter, Simple but Not Easy, Jon Kabat-Zinn says, mindfulness is empowering because paying attention in this way opens channels to deep reservoirs of creativity, intelligence, imagination, clarity, determination, choice, and wisdom within us. So there's always a temptation when we hear words like that to go searching, reaching, setting goals. But mindfulness is just about being with what is. And that is the wisdom, just to be with what is. This is it. Right now, each breath, each moment, just to sit in mindful awareness of the full spectrum of lived human experience within us all, moment by moment. So, for the last 5 minutes, a little bit of just silent practice, just resting in the flow of moment by moment mindful awareness. And just resting in your awareness underneath my words. You don't necessarily need to be listening, just allow the words to land while you rest with your own awareness. So mindfulness is simple, yeah, just paying attention on purpose in the present moment. But not easy because our mind is always wandering. There's distractions that pull us from our practice, a restlessness that takes us off our cushion, a tiredness that maybe drifts us off to sleep, maybe a resistance to something that we find in the practice. And this is all perfectly normal. So we hold this too in awareness and in compassion, kindness, acceptance, because the practice is what it is. And sometimes it's restless, and sometimes it's sleepy, and sometimes it's distracted, and that's just our job is just simply to be with that. So, whatever we've encountered in our practice today, we can say, well done. Well done for being here, for giving us the space, for giving ourselves the act of radical self care, just to sit down for 45 minutes and do nothing, simply be with experience. And well done for being with whatever you have experienced in the last 45 minutes in some form of mindful focus and attention and some form of self care and kindness and compassion. In fact, the very next page, two pages on, he writes, this is it. There's nothing else to it, just being with what is here. I'm going to finish with a quote that Jon Kabat-Zinn writes at the end of his little section, little paragraph. The whole chapter is called The Bloom of the Present Moment, which is beautiful. Right. Question. How can I set right a tangle which is entirely below the level of my consciousness? And the answer, by being with yourself, by watching yourself in your daily life with alert interest, with the intention to understand rather than to judge, in full acceptance of whatever may emerge, because it is there. You encourage the deep to come to the surface and enrich your life in consciousness with its captive energies. This is the great work of awareness. It removes obstacles and releases energies by understanding the nature of life and mind. Intelligence is the door to freedom, and alert attention is the mother of intelligence. So just take a pause right now to acknowledge the practice, for being here, to maybe give yourself a hug or a pat on the back and a well done, for giving yourself the space to connect in some conscious and mindful way with your experience today, and also for being here for each other to practice together, something I'm always deeply grateful for. And I'm going to end this recording now but also just invite you to very, very slowly and carefully wiggle toes, wiggle fingers, take a stretch, a yawn, a sip of water, just slowly opening your eyes and coming back into awareness of the world around you. And just when you're ready in your own time, we can come back to connecting together and share a little bit about our practice today.